Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Fear not of atomic energy. None of that could ever stop the time. Something like that. The nail on the head, I think, Bob Marley. He realised that it's up to you, and that is what this is all about. Apart from, of course, the main issue here is the globe. Of course, it's nonsense. And when people, raise issues with it or question it or ask questions to so-called authority figures about it, they're told not to be so stupid and just belittled and put down by their idiotic train of thoughts, because of course it's a globe, of course it's a ball. Haven't you seen it on the telly? And of course that's not good enough for real scientific, objective inquiry. And people can't see that. They're still clinging to a belief and ridiculing people who cast away that belief because it's a belief, and you should never believe in anything, in my opinion. It's just empty, wasted processes in your mind that they go nowhere, and you have to have faith in others. You see, to believe in God, you have faith in this mystical entity called God. But unfortunately, between you and God, in many cases, there is this entourage or gang or group of people calling themselves the conduit to that being, that imaginary being called God. And they're priests, vicars, whatever you call them. And a parallel can be drawn between that and scientism, the belief that we live on a spinning ball. You've got the high priests of scientism. I don't need to name them. You know them. If you're a globe believer, you'll know them. If you're a globe denier, you'll also know them. Probably pretty well. Probably better than the people who believe in the ball without looking into it at all. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well. That just sort of, came out with me as I put the camera on. I don't, like I've said many times, I very, very rarely even make notes to what I'm going to talk about. I was just preparing my vegetables and thinking. So when you see, the difficult thing for many people who still believe in the globe is when you say something to the effect of, "We don't live on a spinning ball," they'll say, "What is it then?" A lot of people will. That's the retort. That's they need something to for their own comfort to replace the spinning ball nonsense. And to me now, having known it's not a ball for I don't know how many years, at least 4, I can say that the absurdity that is the ball, I can't understand why I ever fell for it. But of course, we all are pressured into it when we're very young. When we first go to school, everything's new and bewildering, and a little bit frightening, a bit upsetting, a bit out of our comfort zone, that's for sure. And so it's almost like being subjected to some kind of torture where you will willingly accept any shit just to get out of there, just to go along and to fit in, not to be singled out and pointed at and ridiculed. Yet, in those tender days, you kind of knew, I think a lot of us kind of knew that we were being bludgeoned into this belief, not really taking it on board. Maybe not until a bit later on when you saw all those wonderful space movies and series on the television that would capture your imagination, because that's what you need more than anything else to believe in the ball. An imagination that can sidestep reality and real science and practical demonstrations of our environment, about the world we live in, and think of Mr. Spock and beaming matter, across vast distances without having to turn a key in the ignition or even. And it's all bollocks, because for many, many decades now, they've been, 5 decades, they've been kicking that can down the road, promising the populations it's always bread tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. We never see any development on the moon, because nobody's been to the moon. Nobody's ever going to the moon. You can't go to somewhere. Go to a rainbow. Let's go to a rainbow, shall we? Let's build a hotel on a rainbow, because that's a fair comparison, in my opinion, to what they're promising us. It will never materialize. The only way it will be seen, even, is when they portray it on our televisions and they make a CGI, set, or is that right? If they can do it, they can make Sandra Bullock and George Clooney float around in space, and it is, I've never seen the film, but I've seen clips of it, and I think it's just unbelievable. Well, literally, obviously unbelievable, but extremely good visually. You can't see the edits and the joins like you can on the space station when they do that. Many, many times, the failing of the blue screen, green screen. Anyway, of course, they wouldn't have that in a film, would they? They'd edit that out in a Hollywood movie. So anyway, I'm not going to stay for much longer. I'm just going to have to go. But one thing I will say on a side note, it's not really to do with the shape of the Earth and our being duped into it. It's to do with health, really, and just MMS. Now, on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday evening, friend came round. He was getting a cold. He was coughing, sneezing, sitting right here, sharing, the consumables. And a couple of days later, on the evening, I thought, oh my God, I'm coming down with whatever he had. 3 drops of each of the MMS that evening. Then 3 more times of that, 3 drops the following day. And I'm fine. I kept on doing that, of course. But I'm fine. So I could really feel as I was going to get this horrendous lurgy that he was obviously getting. And I think, so they tell us, who knows whether it's right, but when you actually are coming down with it, that's when you're most likely to pass it on. That's the myth, the wives' tale, or whether it's through knowledge, I don't know. But that's what the kind of consensus is, anyway. And of course, we all know what consensuses can be, but I dose myself, and I'm free of that. I really, really don't like having colds, because when I sneeze or cough, it really hurts my head. Anyway, you don't want to know about that. But I try and avoid, catching them. And I've not got shares in MMS, of course. But from my experience, it certainly works. Anyway, that's enough of that. I hope you're all fine. I'm very, very sorry. I must apologise for Mungo. I'll try to not to give him access in future, but and his hair actually was orange. It was orange. He couldn't come on the camera like that. I thought he looked like Coco the Clown, but red nose, and the transformation would have been complete. Anyway, again, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, folks. Ta-ra.
They're so like globe Earth fucking mentality.
They just
think they think you're stupid because you think the Earth's flat. Yeah, they're the ones that are stupid.
Of course.